Well, it appears there are some election happenings I need to tell you about. And I think you're going to be very interested in one particular one. So stick with me, folks, and I'll be right back. Hey everybody, this is Deb with Truthification Chronicles, and I'm going to try to go through these as fast as I can. I'm not going to spend much time on any of them, but to start out with a little bit of a chuckle here, the Babylon Bee had this: experts call for 15 days of counting to flatten the curve of votes for Trump. And there's the article if you want to go read it. You know, remember, it's a parody site, so it's just humorous. You gotta, check them out. Well, guess what? The Trump campaign has launched a voter fraud report website, and there it is. I'll have the link to this tweet down below, and you can check it out. Although Don Jr. tweeted it, and he ended up getting his censored, which I think is kind of funny because Jack didn't get his censored, but oh no, Don Jr. did. So just thought that was kind of interesting. But yeah, there's the link. And if you see something, if you've seen something wrong, you need to report it. You really need to. That's what they're kind of relying on. A lot of people who have documented proof from various sources. So, it really helps if people on the ground are keeping their eye out for stuff. Anyway, Adam Housley says this: with all the reports and claims of fraud, it's up to us in the media to either confirm or deny such claims rather than universally accept or dismiss. So I am now going to report an instance I found and am asking Nevada to take a look and will put these individuals in touch. And he says a paramedic in Nevada and family I've spoken to directly and are legitimate decided to check their ballot status online. They got this upon their check, so they decided to call the state number provided. Okay, it says that there's no records in their database that match the information you provided. And so, yeah, they came up empty. Upon calling the state, they have been told that none of them are registered voters and their votes have not been counted. Paramedic says all 5 are indeed registered and voted about a week and a half before election in Nevada in person and voted for President Trump. Now, I don't know if they have like a voter ID or anything. Here in Indiana, you wouldn't be able to vote unless you showed them a valid ID and you were registered, because they check that before they give you a machine. So, just very interesting on that one. I thought I'd leave that for you. Again, all these links are going to be down below in the description. Believe it or not, I'll have them all down there, and you can check them out if you want to check something further. Well, this one says, guess this, he says the media spokesman for OSCE ODIHR, the International Team of Election Observers. Okay, now that's who these people are. This is what they do, like internationally. They observe elections. Just told Rebel Commander Ezra Levant that their delegation has been denied access to the vote counting going on in Philadelphia. Again, if you're not doing anything wrong, you're not going to care who's watching you. But if you care about who's watching you and you want to stop people from watching what you're doing, it's because you're doing something you're not supposed to be doing. We know that. Anybody with a brain knows that. Just ask any little kid. You can always tell when they're guilty because they try to cover it up. And that's what's happening. Michigan County Clerk discovers total votes matched by election software did not match printed tabulator tapes. So guess what? And that was in the Trump County. This Antrim County is very deeply red. So it's kind of interesting. There's a discrepancy with the vote count. So, of course, just an interesting thing. But this site right here, oh man, this is like a great site that I need to show you. This is not the thing I was talking about in the lead-in, though. I've got something even better than this right after this. So stick with me, folks. Anyway, this one, Stop the Steal. Look at this. They have the contested areas, and they have information about them. I mean, they've got people there who are keeping track of them. And look at all of these links down below. I mean, this is massive. Oh, man. I don't know who did this, but wow. This is incredible. All of those links there and all the different states. Oh, this is awesome. And they said this one was called for Biden. But again, just because it was called for him doesn't mean it really is. I got to tell you what, I think it was Joe Pags I was listening to, and he reminded everybody, just keep in mind that until the electoral votes are cast in December, nobody has any votes. Okay? They technically do not have any votes. And when you see them, getting votes, it's because the media has given them the votes. It's the media's opinion that that's who's going to win that state. Okay? So they're the ones, when they call it for one of the candidates, it's because it's their opinion. And of course, Fox News has a Democrat guy who is in charge. And I tell you, Fox News, you have disappointed me. There are videos of people out in Las Vegas who are chanting, Fox News sucks. And, really, they're betraying us. Oh, and tonight when POTUS spoke, I'm recording this on Thursday night. When POTUS spoke, they broke into the Sean Hannity. I was listening on the radio, and they do Sean Hannity like, a couple hours later. He doesn't start until 6 o'clock here. Well, when POTUS got up there to speak tonight, they had some bozo guys that were from Fox News that were talking about what he said. They had to translate it for peons like me because we're too stupid to understand what President Trump is actually saying, But whoever they were, the one guy was very anti-Trump, and I was not enjoying that. I was trying to listen to my president, and then afterwards they come on with that garbage. It was like, no. Give me back Hannity. I want to listen to Hannity. So anyway, I just thought this was a really good site. You need to see this one right here. And all these links, go for it. Lots of reading there. You know me, I'm a teacher. So there's your assignment. No, actually, I got a better assignment for you. So stick with me here. All right. This was a thread that came up, and I wanted to just read through it with you. Every patriot needs to read this, he says. And after patience and observation, I deduce how this phase of the plan is being executed, and more importantly, why it is being done this way. The sheep are meant to see something, and we are maximizing eyes on the situation, and I'll prove it. Notice Fox declared Arizona for Biden very early, while CNN, MSNBC have Arizona neutral. Both echo chambers are feeding fear to their base, making them glued to the situation. Fear porn. Maximizing eyes on. This is not an accident. The sheep are about to be shown something big. I know it's been painful, but this delay only benefits MAGA. It neutralized the organized riots on standby were Trump to be declared winner, which I was thinking about that earlier today too, because it kind of took the wind out of their sails. They were all ready to protest Trump win, and now they're not sure if Biden's going to win or not, so they're kind of holding back. I don't think they all are. I've heard some rumors of a few here and there, but not like they had planned. So I think that's a good thing. It introduces an avenue to attack voter fraud and secure future elections while we have maximum eyes on from both sides of the aisle. And I'm going to have more on that in just a second. It exposes MSM outlets for calling states too early in an attempt to influence public perception via disinformation, therefore subverting an election, coup d'etat. It grants NSA, U.S. military the authority and optics to reveal foreign interference. It will be worth the wait. Massive happenings are going to occur in the coming days, weeks. We need to make sure the normies see all of it. Keep them engaged. That's what this operation is about, waking up normies and discrediting our number one enemy, the mainstream media. What is soon to unfold will do both simultaneously. Trump will squeak this victory out by a tiny margin. The Dems will 180, foaming at the mouth, call for a recount and accuse Trump of cheating again. Votes will need to be validated. Trump will end up winning by a larger margin, and we are going to get the Dems to ask for it. The liberal sheep won't be able to ignore it because they are expecting the recount to destroy Trump. But in the end, it will only benefit him, just like Mueller. This is how we infiltrate liberal echo chambers and get them to see what we want them to see. Laser pointer effect. Given the way this is transpiring and how this limbo benefits Trump, I am confident that we are in control. This is part of the plan. Remain vigilant. Do not falter. Stick to the mission. Don't allow the unknown to consume you. Hold the line and let the plan unfold. Okay, now I want to just show you this. Now, this is from our friend. I kind of stripped it down of all the stuff just so it would be okay. But it is number 453. If you want to see it, it happened on 11/11 of 18. So this was after the election then. What if the below could be proven? 1. Election plus Democrat Party officials filled out many thousands of blank ballots. Election plus Democrat Party officials removed and destroyed legal ballots. I hadn't thought about that, to be honest, but I think probably that's so, that there's some of them that they have, it's like, oops, yeah, we'll reject that one. Oh, it's for Trump. Election plus Democrat Party officials deliberately organized non-citizen voting. Now remember, this was we thought he was talking about the 2018 election. But it's looking pretty interesting here. And again, I got something you need to see. So election plus Democrat Party officials in whatever locations across the United States under lock and key stored many thousands of blank ballots for purposes of altering the vote total. Who safeguards blank ballots? Who issues blank ballots? Who controls blank ballots? How many blank ballots are generated versus total county population? The control and issuance of blank ballots is key. Why did the same counties under dispute today refuse to turn over voter registration information upon request to the Voter Fraud Commission? If you remember, early on in Trump's administration, he initialized this group, the Voter Fraud Commission, to look into voter fraud, of course. And then they disbanded it, why was the Voter Fraud Commission disbanded and turned over to the DHS? Well, it was disbanded because the Democrats complained because this commission was asking for their voter rolls, the state's voter rolls, and they were going to clean them up and check them against like their listing of the known illegals in the United States. And they were going to take off all the illegals that were on there. Well, that sent the Democrats ballistic, and so they complained about it. So it was disbanded. However, it was then put into the DHS, you see? So it fits with Homeland Security because obviously if you've got who knows who influencing your ballots, because you don't know when you're getting fraudulent ballots, you don't know who's behind them. If there are people who are illegally here in the United States, then they are a foreign influence in our election. So that's why it was absorbed by the DHS, and it has been working. So, I know a lot of people say, well, we haven't seen anything, so it must not be working. Don't be too sure. What vested authority does DHS have compared to a commission body? Because DHS has a lot more power behind it. So, see, Trump did a lot of restructuring things and, making it more efficient because this was something that needed to be not this commission on its own. It needed to be in the DHS because once it is a Homeland Security issue. So I just thought that was very interesting, but that was the post, okay? And he said enemy at the front door. So that was this post. And again, that was number 453 on 11/11/18. But let's go back to this now. In that post, he down at the bottom, this right here, this link is this article right here. Without evidence, does that sound familiar? Without evidence, Trump and Sessions warn of voter fraud in Tuesday's elections. Didn't they say the same thing about Barr? without evidence. Well, and it goes down into this. Remember, this is Washington Post, so take everything in here with a grain of salt because they're like, yeah, stupid Trump. Yeah, that's how they always go after it. But in a tweet early Monday, Trump said that law enforcement had been strongly notified to watch for illegal voting. Okay, now, if they were then, don't you think they were a lot more now? Here's my thought on this, folks. I think what they were doing with the 2018 election, I know a lot of us had our hopes up. There's going to be this big red wave and we're going to take everything. And then we lost the House. I mean, we did gain in the Senate, which was very good. We needed that. That was the important part. But we lost the House, and I think a lot of us were disappointed because we thought it was going to be just a red wave over the whole thing. But here's what I think the purpose of the 2018 election was. It was a chance for DHS to see exactly how they were cheating. You see, before, I mean, you know, for the 2016 election, the Obama people were in charge. So, you know, the Trump people couldn't look into what was exactly being done. They couldn't see it from the inside. And so I think in 2018, they probably were looking at things from the inside to find out their avenues and try to find out what would be the most important thing to focus on to stop the cheating for the 2020 election. Okay? So then we have this. Now, I'm actually going to leave you this link down below, even though it has a link here to the article, and I'm going to show you the article, but I just thought, I think it'll be easier for me. You know, I'm kind of walking a line here, and I want to make sure that even my links don't have too many revealing words in them and stuff. So this one right here, this guy says, I'm sorry, I didn't have it up at the top. United States election fraud concerns are raised. Okay. And then he says he'll be updating it more. And then in 2019, there was discussion here, on the Hill that was 11/21/19. And DHS Cyber Agency invests in election auditing tool to secure 2020 elections. So, you know, you can say they're not doing anything, but I think they have been. And the Department of Homeland Security's DHS Cybersecurity Agency announced Thursday it would partner with election officials and private sector groups to develop an election auditing tool that can be used to help ensure the accuracy of votes in 2020. And then if you look down here, it says it's partnering with nonprofit group Voting Works on an open source software tool known as Arlo, which is provided to state and local election officials for free. But look at this. This tool has already been used to conduct post-election audits across the country, including during the recent 2019 elections. Election officials in Pennsylvania, Michigan, Virginia, Ohio, and Georgia. Isn't it kind of interesting that 3 of those are ones that we're just kind of looking at right now and that are up in the air still? Now, Ohio should have been, but I think it was so red they couldn't change it. They just couldn't produce enough to sway it. So they had to let Ohio go. I think it was in the plan. And Virginia, there were some really weird things going on with Virginia's numbers at first because they called it for Biden, and all of the different charts that I was looking at had Virginia, had President Trump up significantly. So I don't know if there were shenanigans or not in Virginia, but it's not really one of the swing states. Usually you expect it to go blue. But I just thought it was really interesting. Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Georgia are listed there, and those are 3 that we're really focusing on. So anyway, this was in 2019 that they were dealing with this. Well, let me go back to this article here. And this was posted. There's a thing AP has that's called the AP News One Wire. And what they do is, it says OneWire is the name of a service that connects agencies and reporters from across the planet together. Their job is simple: make a platform that makes it easy to share information between verified sources in order to cut down on misinformation. Hence the name Associated Press and OneWire. Does it kind of give you a little insight into the 4 a.m. talking points? OneWire can only be accessed by content providers and sharing partners in the news networks in the United States and abroad. And so this particular article that I'm going to show you was on OneWire, this AP OneWire. So you can't just take the link and go read it on there yourself. It's going to be a press release, but it's not public yet. He says, I can share the link all I want, and unless you have an AP OneWire account through your employer, you simply will not be able to view it. Nobody else will allow this to go public either, so I decided to leak it. We deserve to know what's going on. I don't know when this is supposed to go. It says November 4th, so I don't know if it's out there now or not. I didn't go looking for it, but contentious U.S. election sparks confusion and outrage from election skeptics. In a stunning turn of events, the Department of Homeland Security announced that there was a federal government sting planned and executed for this election. It was established that this was intentional to determine the margin of fraud in the election system. With confusion in the election results as it is, the amount of fraud identifiers found in this sting is staggering. More than 14 million ballots have been reviewed nationwide for the Department of Homeland Security's new election countermeasure. As of 7:18 p.m. Eastern Time, 80% of the ballots have failed ballot integrity checks under this measure. A debrief of the election countermeasure from the Department of Homeland Security can be found below. The highest frequency of these non-marked ballots is coming from Arizona and Michigan, where over 48% of counted ballots did not contain this watermark. This is where the whole watermark thing is coming from. So I don't know if you've heard about it before or not, but they say that there's a type of watermark that's on there that they put in so they could validate the different ballots. These votes are overwhelmingly supportive of Democratic candidate Joseph Biden. This election countermeasure was not endorsed or briefed with the president or candidate Biden. This was a background audit that has been planned since as early as May 2018. In this scenario, it is too certain to tell what the results of this audit will tell us to do. Okay, now, like I said, I thought this was a very important issue that it talks about. It was has been planned since as early as May 18. That's why I'm saying 2018 was a test run for it. I think that they did some of it to see if it'd be partially effective, if they'd be able to follow it. And supposedly this watermark, now I haven't confirmed this part of it, but supposedly the watermark is like a certain type of isotope that they can check for, scan for, and validate that that really is it. So it should be interesting to see what's going to happen here, because in the court cases, you see, you can't go to court and just say, I believe there's voter fraud. You have to have actual evidence. Now, it really helps when you've got people like Project Veritas out there and they're getting testimony from people who will verify, and they'll swear to it under oath that they saw these certain kinds of voter fraud. But if you can have a big bunch of ballots found, and again, you go back to this and you look at it and you think, what if they had all of these thousands of blank ballots filled out and they destroyed legal ones, and, they organize non-citizen voting. What happens if they get caught? What happens? So I just thought I would, give you that information. Again, it's one of those things that I think is important for us to know and to be aware of. Like I said, I don't know if this came out on November 4th. I surely haven't seen it, but that doesn't mean it doesn't exist. So who knows? Okay. I don't know, but I do think that it's very probable that they had some kind of sting going on, especially since they talked about it back here and they talked about this election auditing tool and everything. So that should give you a little bit of hope, folks. I know some of you are frustrated and everything, but I think there's some things in the works. I don't think that Trump would have let it go without having something there. All right? I'm pretty sure he's a smart guy, a very smart guy, and he's not going to go into it without having something to back him up and some way of, he knew it was going to happen. He knew it was inevitable. I mean, that's what he's been tweeting about. But, you've got to have some kind of backup plan, and I think that's what he had. Maybe even not backup, but just letting them kind of show themselves. Because that's what it's been all about, folks. Having them show themselves. The Democrats, the Trump haters, the globalists, the deep state, whatever you want to call them, they're the ones that are being exposed. Every time they try to get Trump through Mueller, look what happens. A big bunch of them are exposed to be the creeps they are. They get fired, and they're going to be up for charges real soon after the election. So, you got to know 3D chess, 4D chess, whatever it is. I don't play chess. So. But, Trump moves ahead, and I really think that probably is very valid. Okay, how about this one? Just saying, on Pennsylvania, 200,000 votes voted only for Biden and not for any down ballot races. Hope your campaign exposes this garbage. I think that's really important because, if they are so focused on Biden that they're not voting for anyone else on the ticket, that's very suspicious. You might get a handful of those kinds of people, but you're not going to get that many of them. 200,000 only voted for Biden. That's suspicious right there. Oh, let's just go on because there's more. Sharpiegate. Okay, now I'm not going to take time to go through Sharpiegate. I had some stuff on it, but with the amount of things that are coming in all the time, you probably have already heard about what the deal was. That in some places they were given Sharpies. Now, as I understand it, okay, I didn't know this, but I've been told that there are different kinds of Sharpies. All right. And that the certain kind of Sharpie that they needed to fill in these ballots, that the machine manufacturer actually told them that that's what they should use. And so it was not working in some machines. And a lot of people feel like they were tricked, especially in Pennsylvania and in Arizona. I don't know, one of those two. They feel like they were really tricked into using them so it would nullify their ballot. Okay? I'm not sure if that's the truth. All right? I think I did hear that the machine itself told people that they needed to use Sharpies. And I don't know why, probably because it filled in the thing more, but I don't know what it reads. I know if it's like a Scantron, it reads the lead in the pencil. So that's why you always had to have a number 2 pencil. I've never heard of one that uses a Sharpie, but maybe it's a different type of optical thing. It's been a while since I've been in the classroom, so they've developed all kinds of stuff since I've been there. Anyway, so I'm just going to leave this down there. This is from the ACLJ, which I think they probably will have a good, reliable overview of it. So you can watch this one. I haven't had a chance to watch it. I know it's only 3 minutes long, but there's been so much today. And honestly, folks, I had to take time to just get away. And I highly recommend that for you because there's not a whole lot right now that we can do except pray, which is very important. So please continue to pray. In fact, set your alarm so every hour, during the day, it just beeps or something so you can remind yourself to pray. And we need this to succeed. If the DHS is doing this sting operation, we need to pray for it to be successful. So, anyway, I'll just leave this. This is kind of an overview of Sharpiegate. So there you go on that. anyway. And then I wanted to show you this from Alpha Omega Energy, and evidently, Pelosi owns the software used to collect and distribute the election voting tallies and can have a backdoor put in anytime she wants. Now, they say Pelosi, but I think it's Dianne Feinstein here. When you look at it, because it's Ava Technology is the name of it, and if you look down here, it's Richard Bloom, who is, isn't that Dianne Feinstein's husband? So, I think so. 10% owner. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 60% owner in this. Bloom Capital. I mean, yeah, it's all Bloom, but it's in different versions there. But yeah, 60% of it. So I thought that was interesting, Avid Technology. And then here you can see it says Dianne Feinstein up here. Assets owned by spouse through Bloom Family Partners. That's what I thought. And so you can see Avid Technology, and it does have that there. So just kind of interesting. Oh, look at this. She's got a pharma there. Yeah. Interesting. But just thought I would point that out to you, too. Very interesting. So, again, I don't think it was Pelosi. I think, like I said, it said on there Dianne Feinstein, and that is her husband's company. So, anyway. Then we have Michigan Governor Whitmer sent health department to Detroit TFC Center to evict GOP poll watchers, but not Democrat poll watchers or media, claiming COVID concerns, despite 40,000 square foot building. And counters cheered when they were evicted. Also put up cardboard over windows to block inspection process. So that's something that's very fishy because, if you want to be transparent, the best thing to do if you've got windows there is let people look through the windows. But no. And you're going to hear more about that in just a second here. Because this guy right here was there. And he was part of it. He saw these things happening. In fact, the ladies that he was he's a poll watcher, and he's not even a registered Republican. He's like a libertarian or something, or an independent. I'm not sure how he sees himself. But, he challenged some of these some of the votes, and they started saying things about him. Like, oh, he's saying horrible things, and he's threatening us, and this and that, and he wasn't. And so they had the cop arrest him. And finally, he talked to the cop, and he told him what was going on. But still, well, anyway, here.
And it's not verified. In Royal Oak yesterday, it was 10. Here in Detroit, we're looking at 8,000. The error rate in Royal Oak was 0.04%. If you do 10 out of 25,755, that's 0.0388. Here in Detroit, we're looking at 8%. Do you think 8% could have an effect on an election? Yeah. And so what specifically is happening? So I voted mail-in, probably like a lot of you. Apparently 70% of the country voted by mail-in. And when you mail it in, it's mailed to me, Chris Shornack, and I'm in a precinct number, and I'll get ballot, say, 758. So there's an electronic record. It's in the voter book that when Chris Shornack's ballot comes in, it should be 758. And all the election workers the paid election workers are getting paid $600 each down here. In Royal Oak, they're paid $250. All the election person does here at the table is they go, look, here's Chris Shornack's ballot. Let's check it on the computer and make sure it's the right number. 768, good. Count that ballot. And then the process goes really, really smooth. But what happens when that ballot comes in here in Detroit and they got Chris Shornack and it says ballot 758 and the computer says, no, he should have ballot 340. Or there's no Chris Shornack in the computer. Well, that's okay, because maybe Chris Shornack just registered to vote on Monday or Tuesday, which you could do in Michigan. As crazy as that sounds. So they have a paper log, and they look in that paper log and they go, where's Chris Shornack's name? His name's not in the paper log, and it's not in the electronic log. That vote has to be rejected. I'm looking you in the eyes. I'm telling you, I watched it with my own eyes down here. That didn't happen. They would still count that vote. That's called ballot harvesting. That's called an invalid vote. And that, I hope I explained that well, is the voter fraud that's happening here in Detroit. It's crazy.
Okay, I'm going to leave it, but he's got more before that and more after that you really need to listen to the whole thing. I'll leave the link down below. And, this is the kind of voter fraud that's happening. It's not just that there are ballots that are illegitimate, but they're passing them on and they're validating them and they're saying they're okay. And that's really the issue that we need to be aware of, that they're taking these ballots that would not pass otherwise, and he challenged, and then when he challenges them, they're supposed to make a note in the computer and put a note on it or something on the ballot, and then he puts he's got a log that he writes it down in what number it was and everything. And so his log should match up with what they're doing in the computer, and that's not what was happening. And like I said, because they didn't like him challenging all these different ballots, they got him in trouble and everything. It's just crazy what was going on there. And he'd worked before in Royal Oak. That's why Royal Oak is one of the suburbs of Detroit. And that's why he was using that as a comparison. And by the way, they still get paid more than people around here. I think people around here got $150 for the day. So, yeah, anyway. But then again, we didn't have a lot of days. Well, you had November 3rd. So, okay, anyway, here's another example. This one is another example of fraud going on. Oh, she said that she didn't personally see them, but she worked with several people there who saw 130,000. Well, she has 1.3 million, isn't it? Yeah. But I think she said 130,000 is what it was. Ballots were delivered, and every single one of them was for Biden, and they were delivered after November 3rd. They were delivered on the 4th. So you can watch hers if you want to. But she was not an eyewitness, but she said she worked with several people who confirmed the same thing. So, if we can get those people to step up and to say what they've seen, Project Veritas has more people now. They had the one that I showed you in my last video, or a couple videos ago, whatever. And now Project Veritas has more people contacting them. So I hope that's what happens. If you want to be protected, if you know any voter fraud and you want to be protected from that, you can contact them through their tip line. I think it's Project Veritas at protonmail.com, I think. But you can contact them and they'll protect your identity if you need it protected. So anyway, there's that. And then this one was in Michigan alone. They had 4,788 duplicate registrations, 32,519 more registered voters than eligible voters, and 2,503 dead people registered. One voter was born in 1823. Gee, wouldn't that be an interesting person to meet? So, yeah, we got that going on. And then you've got this right here. This was a win. With a court order in hand, the Trump campaign has been granted full access to vote counting centers in Philadelphia and are inside now. Hang tight. So there's the court order, and they actually let them in. So that's a good thing. That happened this afternoon. Yeah. 6 feet away from the tables where they have the voting machines, and then they moved the machines to the back of the room. So that was a little bit of a glitch, too, that they threw them, because they did. They took the voting machines and they moved them back. it's just, this is what they're doing. And then there's this one, because this is from Richard Gunnell, and he says, the CNN's John Berman just said this vote is legal because he received a ballot by mail. This is not true, okay?
All right, my name is Juan Caro. I'm going to check a voter registration here really quick for William Bradley. I'm on the Michigan Voter Information Center. He was born in March of 1902. Get the zip code really quick. 48207. 48207. All right, so I'm checking on the Michigan Voter Information Center for William Bradley, born in March of 1902. Our friend is registered to vote, received his application, sent his ballot, and his ballot was received and counted. This man was born in 1902. I wonder how many more of these Joe Biden has.
Yep. So right there, I like what he says here. Biden voters are much more motivated than I originally imagined. William here came back from the grave to support his candidate. Yeah, so there you go. All right, folks, that's what I've got for you on this one. And before I go, I just want to remind you that you need to just kind of let this stuff go. You can dip in once or twice a day and check things out, but I tell you, don't let it rule your life. You know, enjoy. We're coming up to a weekend. Go out, get some fresh air, some sunshine. If you live around where I do in Indiana, man, we're going to have a beautiful couple of days here. It's going to be glorious. So take advantage of it. And don't let yourself get down, because I really think there's a sting in progress. And that, 2018 was testing things out, and now they're going in to get all the evidence, because this can't continue. And you know that it's more than just the election that they're going for. They want more than the presidency. They really are trying to use this disarray around our election as part of their color revolution. So, we're just got to keep praying that there will be success for the DHS plan and that President Trump keeps us going in the right direction. So I want to thank you for stopping by, and I'll see y'all later.